That's my sister Tiana. Whatever. I see her. I see her face. Little eyes. I ain't worried about that. I am worried about it, but I'm not worried about it. This is your hunger Arabia Barbosa number 4, which is telling you. I'm letting you know I'm not blind to what's going on in these YouTube streets. I'm not blind to anything that's going on in these YouTube streets. I am Arabia Barbosa number 4, which is County, New York. It's late at night. It's probably almost 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't give a fuck. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Close to you. Remember that song I did a couple of days ago? And Andre O.D. Kimball did the song on his channel or whatever he wanted to do. You need to get an acapella, baby boy. Andre O.D. Kimball, get it a cappella. Close to you. Close to you. Let's say it in Swahili. Karibu na wewe. Karibu na wewe. Close to you. Why? Why does the birds fly across the sky every time you walk by? Just like me, they want to be close to you. And we got a bunch of shit going on in these YouTube streets. We got a bunch of shit going on in these YouTube streets. I'm looking at different YouTube creators I'm subscribed to, and I'm like in awe of them. I'm in awe of them. I respect them. I love them. I don't want nobody to disrespect them. Nobody. But people gonna be who they are. People gonna do what they want to do. I can't control nobody. A shout out to the chat. Shout out to the motherfucking chat. It is what it is. 914 Westchester County, New York. We are in the house. Karibu na wewe. Karibu na wewe. That means, if you translate it into English, it's close to you. Close to you. And when I get involved with people on YouTube, in my regular life, I become emotionally attached. Emotionally attached. How did that fucking happen? I'm 50 years old, getting ready to turn 51. How did I become emotionally attached to other people on YouTube or in my real life? How? How did I become emotionally attached to Birdman? How? How did that happen? How did it happen? How did I become emotionally attached to someone like KK? Y'all don't know who she is. She's my home girl from New York, a Puerto Rican chick. Spoke Spanish. When I started learning the Swahili, she was involved with the Swahili. How did I become emotionally attached to you, close to you? I look at my YouTube creators. How did I become emotionally attached to you? How? Where was the opening? Where was the door? And when I think about it, I say, Dios mío, abre la puerta. Dios mío, abre la puerta. Dios mío, abre la puerta. It's a Spanish term. It's a Spanish phrase. It means God, my God, open the door. Dios mío, abre la puerta. Open the door, God. My God, open the door. What else do I say in Spanish? What else do I say in Spanish? There's plenty of words I say in Spanish. But one of the main phrases I speak in Spanish is estoy. Estoy donde nada nunca se pasó. That means, if you don't know what it means in Spanish, I'm going to translate it for you in English. Estoy donde nada nunca se pasó. Nada, yeah, that's what it is. I'm asking how did all this shit happen? Estoy donde nada nunca se pasó. That means I'm living where nothing happens, where nothing is going on. That's what I'm saying. If I say lo siento, no es culpa, es mío, I'm saying I am sorry. I'm not to blame. I'm not to blame. I am sorry. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. A lot of you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You try to figure it out. So you try to learn the Swahili. The Swahili. Do you know what the words? Woo. Don't let me get it. Don't let me get started in Swahili. Kuja na mimi, kula chakula, nije baridi, nini kuzimu, kila wakati. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? Now I gotta do videos, not live videos, but uploads where I'm talking about Swahili, where I'm talking about Spanish, where I'm talking about English. My biggest thing is always my heart is being destroyed, disrespected. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. It is what the fuck it is. Now, I'm not going to be blinded. I'm not going to be deaf to what's going on. I'm not. But I got to live my life too. I got to live my life. Where does my life come in? Where does my life come in? And y'all stop, or y'all be paused for a little while. You're not going to be paused. You're not going to be stopped. You're not going to be shut up. It's not going to happen like that. It is what the fuck it is. I am Arabia Barbosa. I support my YouTube creators. I support my subscribers, my moderators, my support team, the people that write in my chat section, people write in my comment section. It doesn't matter about this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is gonna die. It's gonna die just like I'm gonna die. Nobody lives forever. Nobody's be popular forever. No, it doesn't happen like that. Am I Phyllis Hyman? No. Phyllis Hyman died back in 1995. Am I Whitney Houston? No. Whitney Houston died. What year did she die? 2012. Shout out to the chat. It is what the fuck it is. I'm not going to hide behind an avatar all the time. Y'all see me when I show up in my videos. You see me when I hide behind the avatar. When I go behind the avatar, it means is some real deep feeling going on there in my life, not your life. You're not responsible. Nobody on YouTube is responsible for Arabia Barbosa. Nobody. I don't care if you mention me in your videos. I don't care if you got me in a drop. I don't care. It is the fuck it is. Shout out to the chat. It was one young man. He did a upload few days ago. He had the music going behind me. Nah, don't have no music going behind me. Arabia Barbosa 914, which is Karibu. I don't need no music or drop musics going behind me. I am Arabia Barbosa. I am the BT 1000. I am Lucy the Vampire. I am the Jeeper Creeper on this shit. I am the German Shepherd in the room. I combine all those elements in one tree, one voice, one song close to me. I did that song a couple of weeks ago on my other channel. I combined it with this channel. Close to me. That's a Carol Carpenter song. It's a Carol Carpenter song. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I got my eyes closed. I can't see the chat. I can't see the chat. But shout out to those that are in here. Shout out to those. Shout out to you that listen to my voice. But you cannot listen to my voice as the voice of reason. You cannot do it. Do not do it. Do not listen to my voice as the voice of reason. I am not the voice of reason. I am the voice of anger. I am the voice of pain. I am the voice of secrets. I am the voice of darkness. I am the voice of the sun. I am the voice of the moon. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. Estoy donde nada nunca se pasó. That means I am living where nothing happens. I am living where nothing occurs. Lo siento. No es culpa, es mío. I am sorry. It's not my fault. I feel sorry. It's not my fault. That is in Spanish. Kuja na mimi, kula jakula, miji baridi. That is a Swahili phrase. It means come with me to get something to eat. Give me a cold glass of water. That's what it means. I want my God to give me a cold glass of water. Who is my God? Who is my God? Is my God my family? Is my God the air? Is my God a book? No. My great grandmother, Barbosa, been following me for years. And I called my grandmother a week ago and I said, do you see your mother? Is that great grandma Barbosa? She said, Arabia, I don't know who you seen, but that is not your great grandma Barbosa. That is not her. Well, she got on a long robe. It was brown, now turning black, and she got a straw hat. It's a wide brim straw hat. She said, Arabia, that is not your grandmother. That's not your great grandmother. I am your grandmother. That is not my mother. That is a familiar spirit. No way in the world a familiar spirit kept me through the darkness, even in my darkest moments. And I asked for the God I serve. I said, Dios mío, abre la pata. Dios mío, abre la pata. Great grandma Barbosa came into the door. She sat in the house. She sat in my house when I was in New York. She sits in my house right now. Who is this entity? My grandmother said that is not her mother. She said, my mother died in 1949. She died at the age of 52 years old. Arabia, whoever is in your house, whoever has been following you, whoever been stalking you, your biggest stalker, Arabia, that is not my mother. My mother is dead. My mother is gone. I told my grandmother, you refused the lessons your mother taught you. It skipped you and it hit me. It hit my grandmother's children. All of them knew the truth. All of them knew the truth. All of them were followed by the same spirit. I see. I see her. She talks to me. In my deepest, darkest moments, when I got attacked in this city, North Charleston, South Carolina, years ago, who pulled me through? It was great grandma Barbosa, nobody else. And I refuse to believe what my grandmother is telling me. She said that's not her mother. Who the fuck is it if it's not her? Who is it? It's great grandma Barbosa. I believe it in my heart. It's her. She was the one that stopped me from going into certain pathways. When I was living in Yonkers, New York, my great grandmother was flowing with me. She'd been with me since the day I was fucking born. How does my grandmother not know this? And she know it. She know the truth. All her sisters know the truth. It is what it is. Aunt Pam is dead and gone. It is what it is. And shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. We're going to do something different today. We're going to do something different. Donna, forgive me. We're going to do something different. I want anybody to hit this panel. Anybody. Come in and hit the panel and tell me your experiences of your dead relatives and they didn't come back and try to ride with you. Tell me. Nobody's hitting the link. So everybody agrees with what I'm saying. Everybody agrees with Arabia Barbosa. Your ancestors ride with you. Your ancestors live in your house. Your ancestors are being born in your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren. That's where your ancestors are at. How did I become the woman I am? How did I become as strong as I am? How did I go through the different tests of life without my great grandma Barbosa? My grandmother wasn't there physically, not spiritually, not mentally, but her mother was there. great grandma Barbosa walks with me. She showed me what happened in New York when I was living there. In Yonkers, New York. I was walking down the street. We was walking on South Broadway, and everything went into flames. She was showing me a vision. How does she not exist? How does she not have a voice? When I say, Dios mío, abre la puerta, Dios mío, abre la puerta, don't you know she come through the goddamn door? She's in this house right now. Nobody can see her. I can put up a total camera of the whole apartment. Darkness, light, sunlight. I know my great grandma Barbosa is walking with me. Bertha Epps, aka Bertha Barbosa. And I know she's with me. My grandmother told me, she said, no, that is not my mother. That is a familiar spirit. Arabia, they're trying to trick you. Nah, nobody trying to trick me. The only ones trying to trick me are the ones walking on earth, the ones on 2 feet. They was the ones trying to trick me. They was. It's a trap house in the Matrix. Shout out to the chat. It is what it is. I know who's walking with me. And she's walking with my grandmother as well. My grandmother became upset with her own mother because the mother left her. My grandmother was in her teenage years. She was 18 years old when her mother died. Her mother passed on. Shout out to the chat. My great grandmother is a hero. She's a crown in my glory. Shout out to her. And she walks with me every day. I see her every day. I talk to her every day. We buy that book. She buys all this shit. She buys the foods. I don't buy them. She pays the bills. I don't pay them bills because I would never pay a goddamn bill or a tax. Anything. It's my great grandmother walking with me. And when I go into my dreams, when I go into my deepest realms, she's not in the dreams, but she's telling me, Arabia, it is what it is. Shout out to the chat. I can call my grandmother, and my grandmother remember me one day, and the next day she don't remember me. Her mother remembers me. Her mother been walking with me all this time. She took Aunt Pam. Yeah, she took Aunt Pam, the grandmother of C.L. Smooth. Yeah, she took her back in her bosom. Now shout out to the chat. Anybody that believes your ancestors are walking with you, hit the link. Hit the link. The link is dropped. Hit the link. If you believe your ancestors might be your grandparents, great grandparents, hit the link if you know what I'm talking about. A lot of people are afraid of this subject. You know, when they came out with this skinwalker bullshit on YouTube, on any other media social platform, you know what my great grandmother did? She came back into this house and she said, "There's no such thing as a skinwalker." And baby, you know how to talk to animals. You know how to talk to people. You know how to talk to the universe. You know how to talk. You've never been afraid of nothing. I was the reason why you was never afraid. My great grandma Barbosa came into my life when I was being born. And she said, "You will never be afraid of nothing. You will always be abused and used and being taken advantage of, but you will never be afraid." Now, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Donna, thank you for coming in. But my other moderators know the same truth. And a lot of people are afraid. They are afraid. They are afraid of the unknown. If you so much afraid, go and look at that movie. They live, we sleep. Go look at that movie. It was made back in 1988. It was posted in the movie theater. It was posted on YouTube. They live, we sleep. It's going to show you a picture of sunglasses. Sunglasses. Hollywood, the music industry has been giving y'all subliminal messages. They've been doing it for years and years. My great grandma, you know, my grandmother's mother, my great grandma, Barbosa, Bertha Barbosa, Bertha Epps. Shout out to the chat. She died in 1949. Yes, she did. At 52 years old. Heart failure. Heart failure. That's the same element that killed my aunt, Aunt Ernestine. Aunt Ernestine is dead and gone because she had a heart attack in her own apartment. She died alone. She died alone. You know how many people Aunt Ernestine helped go into the next life? And Aunt Ernestine died alone by herself. But before she died, she called me on my phone. She said, "Arabia, I'm getting ready to die. My heart is too much trouble. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm getting ready to leave you by yourself, leave you alone. But baby, you always gonna be who you are. And you was the next one beside myself to take over the whole family. You are the next one. I am Arabia Barbosa, 914 Westchester County, New York. 914 Westchester County, New York. We shout out to Boston, Massachusetts, the Cape Verdean community out there. We shout out to Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, the Cape Verdean community. We are one. We are one family. A shout out to the chat. But great grandma Barbosa sits in my house. She walks with me. She can even walk with me tomorrow morning in the rain. Sister Arabia, don't be afraid of the rain. I'm walking with you. I'm walking with you. Nobody else might be walking with you. I'm walking with you. Shout out to the chat. I look at my YouTube creators, the females on YouTube. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. for being so strong and going against those those dudes that went against you, going against those women that went against you. Shout out to you. Shout out to the ones that remembered my birthday. Shout out to you. Thank you. I'm not perfect. I'm not God Almighty, but we all made in the image of God, arm, leg, arm, head. And there are 16 shades of the universal sun. There's 16 shades of black. And those 16 shades of black are wonderful and they are beautiful. Now, shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. If I don't do nothing else no more tonight, just remember what I said. Just remember what I said about the 16 shades of African black skin, 16 shades of Native American skin, 16 shades of the Aboriginals, people that was here in North America, South America, way before the Europeans came. We created European. We ruled the European countries for many years until they took over because the black skin died out and it will die out because I got relatives that's living in West Virginia. They're passing for white. I got plenty of relatives that are passing for white right now. My great grandma Crota, she looked white. She was the daughter of a white man and a black woman. When she came into the world, she looked like she was totally white. At that time, she could have passed for white, and she decided not to do it. She said, I want to be black. I am black. I recognize my mother. And she went into the world preaching to her children and her grandchildren and her great grandchildren to marry the darkest, deeper black people on the earth. That's what she did. She said, marry them, be with them. We will return back to where we originally are. Great grandma Crota was a slave. She was a slave. She looked white, but she was a slave to her father, her slave master, and to her half sister, and the same slave master impregnated other people on the plantation. His overseers, did what they did to those black women in my family. And great grandma Barbosa knows the truth. But my great grandma Quota, she said, I'm going to live in a black skin. She looked white. They do the family unions every year. They put up her photo, put up her picture. She looked like a white woman. And I said to myself, oh my God. But you know what she told her children? Marry the deepest, darkest black people you can find. Marry them. Love them. Support them. Don't abuse them. But unfortunately, in that family, things did not go according to plan. Did not go according to plan. Shout out to the chat. My great grandmother, Rhoda, was a half white, half black woman. She looked white. But she always told her children and her grandchildren and the great grandchildren in her memoirs to get involved with the blackest, juiciest, most beautiful people on earth because she wanted us to go back like the way you was. My skin color, my skin color is black. I'm black. When I look in the mirror, I'm black. Great grandma Crota did not try to pass for white. She got relatives that passing for white right now in West Virginia, in different parts of America, North Carolina, different parts of America. It is what it is. A shout out to the chat. There are 16 shades of black. I was taught that by the Nation of Islam when my brother started studying his lessons of life. He could not get his lessons from the house we grew up with. It was too damaging. So he went to the Nation of Islam. He went to the 5%er nation of gods and earth. Yes, he did. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. And he tried his best to do his best works. Best works. Shout out to him, my brother. It is what you do what you want to do. Yes, you do what you want to do. I do what I want to do. We both in our 50s now. I'll be turning 51 in a few more days. She'll be turning 50. If she, this year. He'll be turning 50 this year. And he's a father and a grandfather. A father and a grandfather. And he's in his children's life. He's in his grandchildren's life. But how damaged is my brother? He's very damaged. And his children know it. At least the next generation have enough sense to know the other generation is not perfect. Even though they say they got arm, leg, arm, head, 360 degrees, it is not true. It doesn't mean it's true. My nephews and nieces look at me and they see a woman scorned and damaged by this whole world. A woman that is angry and upset with the world. But shout out to them for knowing that. Shout out to them. But they don't bring my legacy. Even though we blood relatives, you don't bring my legacy. Those two children that was murdered in 2011 brought my legacy because they actually spoke it out loud. Honor, baby, we know you ain't never gonna have no children. We are your children. And when they died, a part of me died. And I get angry all over again. They were trying to stop the anger. When I started getting sober years ago, my niece Sierra said, Honorary, I like you when you are sober. You ain't got that brown bottle under you no more. You like to smoke your cigarettes, but you smoke them outside. She said, Aunt Arabia, I'm going to be here for you in your old age. She's not here. She's dead. Dead and gone. Dead. When they found Sierra, Sierra was burned beyond recognition. That means that her lips are gone, her eyelids are gone, her hair was gone. When they found Sierra, Sierra was balled up in a fetal position. Fetal position. How did I get the information? Because of what the news gave me and what we saw in that funeral home. I got the full report. I don't forget nothing. Now shout out to the chat. What young woman is going to replace Sierra? Ain't nobody going to replace Sierra. Nobody. I can look all over the YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Nobody is going to replace Sierra. Nobody. Shout out to the chat.